Fall is coming fast, and that means it's time for fall food. And one of my favorites is chili. And you mentioned in the break, it feels like fall a little bit out there,
doesn't it?
We have Megan back with us today. Should introduce you as well with the North Harvest Bean Growers Association. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
I kind of was fighting it for a while, but 40s and then 70s for highs, it feels like fall. So we can talk chili.
Absolutely. Yeah, chili is definitely one of those foods we start to think about when we're getting into the fall season. It's an awesome meal for lunch, entertaining, evening meals, tailgating. We're getting into that time of year. And of course, when we're talking about Thrifty Thursdays, we're talking about making meals that are not only healthy and delicious, but also cost effective. And chili is one of those recipes that is absolutely not going to break the bank when you're making it. So let's get started with our chili today. We're making a really classic chili that uses some of the traditional herbs and spices, and then of course a lot of beans as well. So we'll get started with, we've got a tablespoon of vegetable oil, and to this we're going to add 1 large onion that has been diced, and we're going to add 1 large bell pepper. And right now, bell peppers are on an excellent deal. I bought a large bell pepper for 50 cents. And I know I talked about on this show before, sometimes those fresh ingredients can be a little bit more expensive, and it might make more sense to get something in a canned or frozen form. But right now, a lot of vegetables are on excellent deal because, of course, we are in the high season. And then we're going to also do, the recipe only called for a tablespoon of garlic. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of garlic. I like the flavor a lot, and I think that adds just a nice additional punch of flavor to this. So one thing that I think is really important to talk about when you're making something like this, a soup or a chili or any kind of dish that's kind of in these big stock pots, is really thinking about how you're seasoning as you're cooking. And when we talk about using salt and pepper does so much more than simply adding that salty or peppery flavor. It really draws out the flavor of your other ingredients. So I would let this cook for a couple of minutes, and then I'm just going to salt these ingredients as well, just to make sure that we get that onion and pepper flavor and garlic to really come out in the dish.
Already it smells delicious.
It smells so good. So I like heat. Have you ever tried it with like jalapenos or a jalapeno?
You can absolutely do that. It totally just depends on your personal preference. That's one of my favorite things with chili too, is that you really can kind of throw in whatever you want. I grew up with a family that made chili all the time. My dad loves to do celery in here at the start too, and carrots, and kind of build in those additional ingredients. My sister likes to throw sauerkraut in her chili. Like,
there's no rules.
There's really no rules. This is kind of like do what you want type of cooking.
But really, let's back up. Sauerkraut in your chili? I've never heard of that.
No, she did it one time when I was at her house eating. I'm like, wow, this tastes amazing. What did you do? And she's like, I just had some extra sauerkraut I needed to use up, so I just threw it in the chili.
Wow.
So yeah, and it added a really fun little tanginess too. All right, so we'll let this cook for probably about 5 minutes if we had a little extra time. And now it's basically just dumping ingredients. I've got a can of diced tomatoes with oregano, basil, and garlic already added. I always like to say that get that additional flavor when you're buying your canned tomatoes, if it makes sense with the ingredients. We've got 2 cups of water here that we're gonna throw in. We're doing 3 types of beans in our chili today. So we have a can of black beans, drained and rinsed. We have a can of dark red kidney beans, drained and rinsed. And then we also have a can of pinto beans, drained and rinsed. This is a vegetarian chili that we're doing today. You could absolutely do beef if that's something that you would like to add. But when we're talking about saving money, a really simple way to save money is to look for plant-based sources of protein versus animal protein. They traditionally are always a little bit cheaper. So we're just going heavy on the beans today and leaving a little bit of the meat out.
BK's helping you out with that plant-based craze too.
Right.
The unbelievable
Impossible burger. Yeah. The plant-based craze is really growing. People are wanting to just get more plants in their diet for health and all sorts of reasons. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of cornmeal. That's going to kind of creamy it up a little bit. And then, of course, chili is all about the spices, right? So we've got a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of cumin. That's got that nice smoky flavor. And then 1 tablespoon of chili powder. And then we're going to get this all stirred together and mixed in. And you can kind of see there we've got a lot of nice flavors and colors going on. And now this would just sit on the stove at a low heat for probably 15, 20 minutes and kind of just letting all those ingredients cook together.
Can we just tip this? I really want them to see. Look how colorful that is in there.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. And again, salting and peppering. We want to make sure that we're doing that through the cooking. And then as we were talking about using up things that you have on hand. I don't know about anybody else, but I have tomatoes like coming out of my ears
Yes.
in my garden right now. The recipe doesn't call for adding fresh tomatoes, but I'm trying to add tomatoes into anything I can right now. So go ahead and chop up a couple fresh tomatoes and throw those in too. When I do that and I enhance a recipe with extra vegetables, I just increase the spices and salt and pepper a little bit. But it really can be adding things as you want and just kind of, I think that that's what's one of the fun things about a chili recipe is that you can just experiment and throw different things in.
And really, for prep work, that was about the only thing that you chopped up because everything else was canned, right? Canned, rinsed, but the little bit of spices.
The onions, peppers, garlic, those I had to chop. But again, doing all that together, you can do that pretty efficiently.
not very long.
Chopping up some tomatoes. And then I just have it prepared over here. I swear this is something I grew up eating almost every single week. A bowl of chili. My dad was a big fan, like I said, so this was something he made every single week. And now as I'm making it more as an adult, I see why, because it's satisfying, it's delicious, and it also is a really cost-effective meal to feed the entire family. Pair that up with some fruit and some whole wheat bread, and you have a really awesome meal to suit the whole family.
It smells amazing.
How much per bowl? Do you have that?
Per bowl, it's less than $1. This whole pot of chili was $6.
That's insane.
And yeah, and one thing that's also nice about it too is that you know, you've got the traditional chili bowl, but this is great served over rice, or you could just do a lot of different things with chili, and it gets better and better in the fridge.
I love it. We'll put your recipe up online here after the show, so you can look for that on North Dakota Today's website. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay with us. Coming up next, NDSU is here to show us how to navigate through life's tough transitions.